The more that comes out on this, the more it stinks, and the more it feels like maybe Michael Oher,
he's reaching.
Didn't really understand.
Well, can you just lay out the facts so people kind of hear?
So the Tuohy's lawyer released a statement yesterday and basically said that Michael Oher's tried this before, and that other lawyers have backed out seeing the evidence, that he doesn't really have a case, that he knew what he signed, he knew what was going on.
He wrote a book about it in 2011.
Yeah, and so I guess...
It's like, okay, once you write a book and you admit that, then you kind of like throws any evidence out the window, or at least his claim out the window. And it just so happens he's got another book that's dropping. And so it seems like it's more of a ploy
There you go.
to get attention and sell this book and then try to get a movie deal out of it. That's at least what it seems on the outside.
And I guess he has tried this before. He hit him up and said, if you don't give me $15 million, I'll release a negative story about you or something along those lines. They also said...
Isn't that extortion?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And the tough part is the family that, adopted him or had the conservatorship, they already made all their money.
Yeah.
They sold their business for like $200 million.
It was like a fast food restaurant chain or something like that for $200 million.
And so it's like if anyone's being exploited here, it's them. Like they took this young man in and tried to provide him a home and care and all that compared to the life he was living. And this isn't like my opinion of it. This is like from his book. And then he turns around and does this. And then you come to find out he's got a new book dropping. Then you come to find out he's trying to maybe cash in on what could be a second movie where he's saying, no, this is my story. It's like, well, hold on a second. Like, I don't understand. Even if you want to have a second movie, a sequel, whatever, why do you have to throw the family that helped you out in the first place under the bus for all this? Well, it's just because they've already made a ton of money before he even was in their life at that point. I mean, it even talks about, they try to advise him to go with a certain agent, and apparently he didn't take their advice, had a different agent, ended up having to fire the agent and going back to the guy they originally recommended.
Yeah, and there was also one of the points that was made by the lawyer in his statement was that I guess they agreed to equal shares, everybody, when it came to this movie and the royalties that came from the movie. And even in the midst of all this, they still deposited his equal share into a trust fund that they set up. They're not making those claims unless they've got proof that deposit was made, correct? Like,
Right.
I find it hard to believe.
And just so people understand why they'd put it in a trust, because they wanted to limit him from having the ability to access it, all of it at once, and probably blow all of the money, which is what a lot of people believe is why he's doing this in the first place, is because he made, close to $35 million?
Yeah.
And maybe he hasn't saved it or invested it wisely, and so it's literally for that reason. Like, that would be one of the things I wish that you could do with some of the student athletes who are getting NIL money, is put it into a fund, into a trust where they can't touch it until they're done with college, and at least they get into the NFL. But, again, you should see some of the stuff these kids spend money on.
Yeah.
And it's like you see it when I was playing on a small scale because you didn't have any money. But when you had a few $100 or something, or you get like your bowl game money where they give you like $1,000 or $2,000 to travel, you see what guys go spend it on, and you're like, all right. Like, imagine if that was $200,000, what they'd do with that money.
Yeah, but $1,000 at 20 years old when you're broke.
Oh my gosh, you're rich. You're rich.
You could do a lot with that.
I remember scraping change together to get like a slice of pizza some nights when I was living in Zom Hall. It's not even a dorm anymore at Notre Dame. And I was like, you kind of just felt like you're alive, like this is it, man. I'm grinding. Like there was something to like the struggle of like, trying to figure it out how you're going to make it work without like many resources at times. That was fun.
What was the most broke you guys ever were? Do you remember a moment?
My two-door Ford Explorer Sport, and I was like, this is when I was like doing like well at Notre Dame, right? That thing, I had to always park so I could put it in drive because it couldn't go in reverse. My driver's side door would not open. I had to get in from the passenger side.
Oh, no.
It was one of those two doors where, like, the seats, like, you hit a thing and they slide up. Well, both the little knobs that you engaged to slide the seat up didn't work. So people just climbed in through the back if they got in my car. I had a after stock or after factory unit this came with the car when it was bought, like center console, with the CD player.
Oh, yeah.
If you stopped too hard, that thing would fall out. Yeah. It would just drop right into like where the cup holders were. And then the last thing that I still didn't figure out, I'm sure someone listening is probably a better with like a gearhead or engine head could figure this out, but I'd be driving and it would sound like a plane was taking off. Like that car would it would just, and I was like, and I wasn't changing gears, just driving on the highway, like driving down to Oxford, Ohio at the time to see my high school sweetheart. And I'd be like, man, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Like it always felt like that thing was going to break down, but that was when I was like, man, this is probably not the safest decision.
Yeah. I can remember walking into a supermarket, having $10.44 in my checking account and thinking, I got to buy food for a week. It was the worst I'd ever eaten in my life.
Spaghetti, man. Go get you some
what
spaghetti.
it makes me think of with the Michael Oher situation? Why wouldn't he take the reverse angle of this? Why is he taking such a negative and confrontational angle to what's taking place? Like, for one, you became a household name.
Yeah, they got $200 million. What's he doing?
It's the opposite. Like,
right.
You don't sue them. You ask for a loan.
You go to them. Yeah, you go to them. Don't try to extort them. Like, tell them, like, I'm your big black son. Like, I love you. You love me.
Mark.
I love you. Like,
we're getting the will, homie.
Let's get reacquainted and watch Blimpies and you. Can y'all give me some money?
Yeah.
I mean, for real though, like get in the will. Like this doesn't allow any chance of that. Although the family has been really sweet about it, I guess. The son that's spoken, and
I've met them. I've spent time with them at the Preakness before. Seemed like a very lovely family.
What up, Preakness?
They invited us to hang out. They got a private jet. I hope I'm not out.
Private jet?
But they invited, go shopping trips while we go golf, and I don't even golf, but I was going to go golf. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do in that case, right?
I'm saying, and I'm not even Michael Oher.
I know.
I was like, let's go golfing,
You wanted them
bro.
to adopt you, didn't you?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
LaVar too.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. They seem like a lovely.
Right?
They seem like the type of people you wake up, you smell food on in the kitchen. Coming from the kitchen,
Full spread.
Like by the time you get to a certain point in time, you wash your hands and get yourself ready for supper. And you smell it on the barbecue pit. Like, that's just the type of family they seem like they were. Like they're going to be consistent type people. You know what I mean? Like, I just the more I thought about the story, I was just like, why not take the other side of it? Like, you would never be as famous. And listen, and this even he transcended the game of football based off of a movie. Like, how much money he could be making if he parlayed that into, like, giving speeches and stuff like that. The blind side, it's already framed up for you. Like, the movie was made after you. Like, this is a great story of perseverance. Like, how much money you can command for that? He should have been building his brand the entire time instead of, like you're diminishing and devaluing something that already exists and is great, by the way. Like, it's a great movie. It's a dope-ass movie. Like, whether they got some – I liked it. Whether they had some inaccuracies or whatever, the depiction of what his story is all the way, then you have the opportunity to go into forums and you can clear it up while you're making a difference and making a boatload of money doing it.
You can do public speaking and make a grip on just your story around the country and get paid.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
But hey.
Seems like an easy way out approach to me, but that's just me thinking out loud.
Yeah.
So
just start gambling. All right, do the safe thing.